I mean, we'll get a little bit we'll go a little bit street
It's all good. I could
mindset,
do that.
mindset. Because
Hey, just because I comb my hair to the side, don't fucking mean shit.
yeah, yeah, oh yeah, you don't know my boy Amigo shoot coming from one of the roughest cities out there, man. But yeah, the guys out there, man. He's how can I overcome the street mindset and move on?
Yeah.
Fucking that old way, like. And me, my input on that is like, who do you have to prove? One of the things that, most of us seek is validation. We seek approval. But at the end of the day, I'll tell you, and my boy will tell you that that life that you know, that you're chasing right now, it has nothing that's going to bring you back, inner peace and contentment. You're on the road to perdition, and to me, it's like you're your own man. You got to sack up, and draw a line and start saying no and start finding out better people, communities, start seeking, personal development and just bettering yourself mentally, physically, spiritually, and not necessarily mean that you got to move somewhere else. You could do it within your own, you know, uh, with your own environment that you're in right now. Just detach yourself from people like that. 'Cause I know me and you had to do it at one point, and
Absolutely.
I know the feeling. You feel like, what are they gonna think about me? Oh, they're gonna see me different. But at the end of the day, shit, they didn't bring fucking food in my table or start, money, feed my family, right? When shit, we had to go.
Absolutely.
They were like, okay, they ain't gonna fucking pay my bills.
In no, 100%. So in 1999, well, my first son was born in 1998, in January of 1998, and my second son arrived in January of 1999, only about 11 and a half months apart. And when when my first after my first son was born, we moved away. So, as you know, I grew up in Wilmington, California. I think anybody from any city in Southern California, everyone says their city is the most dangerous, right? Everyone says
Yeah,
that,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But and guess what? If they grew up there, it may have been dangerous to them, 100%.
Yeah.
Where I grew up out in Wilmington, I definitely co-sign on it. It wasn't an easy place to grow up at all. To be honest with you, anytime I'm in town and I go back over there, even though I know every street and know every alley, I'm still uncomfortable to drive through there. Even though you know what's funny is at one point in time I knew everyone, but I don't know anyone over there now, right? Unless they're my age, but they're all family men now, right? They're
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
they're not kicking it on the corner or holding up the block, right? So,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
they're not doing that.
Okay.
All these youngsters don't know who I am, bro. You know what I mean? So, but I remember I wanted to get my family out of there because I didn't want my sons to grow up there. I didn't want them to go through like what me and my sisters experienced. And so we moved to Lake Elsinore. And this was at a time in 1998 where nobody was living out there, bro. It was super dead out there.
Hmm.
It got a little too far, but when we got there, even though I'll tell you one thing, it was super quiet, and I didn't have to look over, watch over my shoulder or look over my back. I didn't have to worry about my family. I didn't have to worry about being at a grocery store with
Hmm.
my family and something happening, right? And I remember getting another job closer, so we moved to Whittier. We moved to Uptown Whittier like in 1999. And then right around the time I met you, I think I met you in 2000, 1999 or 2000,
Yeah.
we moved right up the street from where me and you worked at. We're living off of Rosecrans and Beach Boulevard in an apartment complex right there. And I moved there because it was closer, to where me and you worked at. The reason why I'm sharing this with everybody is because I had to, I wanted something better for myself and I wanted something better for my family. So we moved away. I'm not saying you have to move away, but I'm saying I'm trying to show the reason why I moved away is because the life that I was living prior to my family was not in alignment with what I wanted for me and my family's future.
Hmm. Hmm.
Okay? So you have to make a decision. Look, we're all grown here. So the person who asked the question, I challenge you respectfully, of course, you need to ask yourself a question. You need to ask yourself, what the fuck is it that you want?
Mm-hmm.
Because if you want something better for you and your family, you got to ask yourself, is this old life or is this life of where I came from? Is that in alignment with what I want from my future? And if it's not, then I got to walk away from it. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Right. This isn't a question about what's right or wrong, what's good or bad, or what's legal or not illegal. That's not the question. The question comes down to is what is it that you want? Is your behavior and the people around you and your daily habits and your decisions, are they in alignment to get you to where it is that you want to be? And if they're not, then I have to ask you, then I'm going to call you respectfully, of course. I'm going to call you a hypocrite. Because if you're over here saying you want this, this, and that for you and your family, but you're still doing old behaviors that are not in alignment with what your future life should look like, then you're a hypocrite.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And the reason why I'm able to call you a hypocrite is because I've been a hypocrite several times in my life. Several times. I said I wanted this, this, and that, but I was out here drinking. I said I wanted this, this, and that, but I was out here cheating on my wife. I said I wanted this, this, and that, but I was out here doing some shit that I shouldn't have been doing. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You know, or, look at all these people. They say they want more money, but then they call off sick from work.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. They want straight the opposite. They do the opposite of what they want. There we go again, doing what you don't want.
Yeah,
You know,
there it is.
you want a
So
body, but you're still eating that cheeseburger, that pizza. You know.
absolutely. And guess what? I was just telling, telling my family this too. Like, I fucking love, bro. Pizza is like my favorite food, bro. Pizza. I love, I love that ghetto cheeseburger. You know what I mean? That cheeseburger and fries and stuff. But there's no way that I can count. There's no way that I can keep track of my macros by eating that. I don't know how much calories are in that fucking slice or in that burger. I don't know how much fat is actually in that. Is it probably in that one slice of pizza? It's going to go over my macros right there. Okay,
Mhm.
so I can't eat it if I'm keeping it because it's not in alignment with what I want. I'm saying I want to lose weight. I'm saying I want to look like this, but then I'm eating that pizza. I'm eating those burgers. I'm eating that fries. I'm not saying that a pizza and burger are bad all the time, but if you're keeping track of if you haven't, you taught me this a long time ago. If you haven't reached your ideal weight and your ideal physique, then you ain't got no fucking business eating that shit.
Mhm.
Now,
Mhm.
once you reach it, if you want to go fuck around with that every now and then, you can because you already hit the results.
Yeah, you're in
Okay,
control now. You're in control of
you're
your body.
you're in control, and I learned that from you a long time ago. But if you're still in the process of getting there, eat, eating something that you can't track is not in alignment with what your goals are. And so what's going to end up happening is going to throw your whole game off.
Mhm.
It's the same thing when you're saying that you want a healthy marriage and you want a healthy family, you want a beautiful home. You want to drive a beautiful car, you want your wife to drive a beautiful car, you want your kids to go to college. You want to be able to have enough money to take your family on a vacation or you just want to be at peace. You want to be happy. You're saying you want all these things. But if your lifestyle isn't in alignment with what you want, then you're a hypocrite. And you have to be able to look at yourself in the mirror and tell yourself that you're a hypocrite. Okay. Look, I love where I grew up at. I didn't raise my kids there, but I loved it that I grew up there. There was a lot of good times. There was a lot of bad times, though. Okay. I was just revisiting. A friend of mine passed away recently, as I shared with you about a month ago. And
Yeah.
we went to a funeral. And at a funeral, you're gonna run into everybody. And we're talking about all the old times, bro. And it was some good memories to drift down memory lane for sure. But then it took that one person to bring up that one time that, hey, remember so and so in the eighth grade?
Mhm.
Remember this happened to, you know what I mean? Like, oh shit, yeah, forgot about him. Forgot that he was even alive at one point in time. It's been so long. There was a lot of bad times, right? So the way I'm not telling you to forget where you came from. I'm not telling you to act like you're better than the people that you grew up with.
Mhm.
But I'm asking you to give yourself permission and understand that it's perfectly okay to leave all that behind so you can have a much better life for yourself. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Okay. That's what I'm saying. And I get it, man. It's hard to leave old friends, old family behind. It's hard to leave old habits behind. Okay. But guess what? The same people that refuse to leave it behind and the same people that say it's difficult to leave it behind are the same people complaining every fucking year that they don't have the life that they want.
That's right.
Okay.
Straight up.
We have to have the courage to put shit aside. I think there's this old saying, you may have heard it before. It says, like, I'm going to butcher it, man, but it's a saying about, when I was a child, I did childish things, you know, and then as a man, I put those childish things behind me. Okay. And so, the way we grew, especially growing up in Southern California, especially being from a specific culture, things are the way that they are. And I'm not saying they're good or bad, right or wrong. They're just the way that it is sometimes. Okay. And it's something to be proud of. It's something to look back on because guess what? The streets taught a lot of us who grew up there in Southern Cal. I'm not saying, I travel all over the country and believe me, they got crazy streets everywhere I go, but I can only speak on where I grew up at, where Guerrero grew up at. It taught us a lot of good too. It taught us a lot to be aware of people. It taught us to pay attention to facial expressions and body language. It taught us how to figure out whether someone is flying straight with us.
Mm-hmm.
And in business, that's extremely important.
Yeah.
In
Street
business,
smart, we call it.
that street smart is extremely important. When we're walking down the street with our family, and you see somebody on the other side and they're tripping, you could pick up on that a mile away.
Mm-hmm.
To grab your wife and kids. Hey, let's go over here on this side and let's this dude's pass real quick. You know what I mean? You
Yeah.
you pick up on that, right?
Yeah.
It-
Senses.
yeah, 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 100%. But it doesn't mean that we have to continue to engage in or surround ourselves with something, especially if it's counterproductive to us creating what it is that we want.
Mm-hmm.
You
No,
know,
that's
I'll,
gold. That's gold. Because right now he's stuck in that environment. If he
hmm
does not choose to move away from it, and it could all be within his own mind and his own
hmm
habits and his own doing, he's gonna be there. Just like me and you, we could go right
yeah,
back to it, and we'll be
absolutely,
in that world. But
hundred
my
percent.
world is there, but it's not my world. My world is this: helping others, personal
Yeah,
development. Personally bettering myself in all areas, sharpening my skills that I know on how
yeah,
to articulate messages. So all I see, my world is just revolves around like helping people. So that's all I see. That's all I that's all that's around me. Yeah, I know
yep,
that this still out there. I'm
yeah,
not there. That's like another world for me. And he has
yep,
to get out of that and create his own little environment, his own little world, and it's going to be by his choices that he makes.
absolutely. So let's change it up just a little bit. Don't live anywhere near there anymore, right? You know how they say? What do they say? You could take the boy out of the hood, but you can't take the hood out of the boy, right?
Yeah, yeah. Mhm.
I went on a hike. I went on a hike recently, and I said what's up to this dude as I was walking on the hike just to be friendly. And I don't know if he was special or what, but he just flipped me off. He just flipped me off as he walked by me. Okay. Now, mind you, I'm hundreds of miles away from where I grew up at. But in my mind, for a quick second, I almost allowed this person to take me back to an old version of me.
Mhm.
Okay. I wanted to go and call him out on it. I wanted to go light him up. I wanted to go do something.
Well, yeah.
But 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 my mind, because I have these different resources, my mind said, "Hey, man, let's say you go light this dude up, and he pulls out his cell phone and calls the cops. You're hundreds, if not thousands, of miles away from where you grew up at. What do they? And they come arrest you because you're the one who put hands, right? And then now I'm paying the consequence. Now I'm paying the price because I refused to leave behind an old way of thinking. You see, you don't have to live where you grew up at for it to be able to take you down
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because everything that's going on up here What it comes down to is the choices and decisions you make.
Uh,
You can live where you grew up at. You could hey, say what's up to everybody as you come back and as you leave and come back. But what it comes down to is the decisions and the choices you make. Okay? Remember, me and Guerrero don't teach what's good or bad, what's right or wrong. What we're here to share with you is there will there will be a result that will stem from the choices and decisions that you make.
mm,
And they're not right or wrong. You're either gonna like them or you're not.
mm,
Okay. So if you want to create more results that you like, you have to make sure that your behavior and your daily habits and your actions are in reflection of what it is that you want.
yeah, gold, gold, perfect. That's man, couldn't break it down any better than that. Hope this helps. But yeah, I mean, it's good. It's always good to implement stories. We're gonna
Yeah.
get more involved with our background, situations that we've been,
Yeah.
and that's the power because the situations that we've been ties in into like the questions and what they're going through. So man, it's like it's mind blowing. We're getting used to how we're gonna be able to help you guys even more by
Yeah.
illustrating our life, our past, bringing it in into your guys' problem right now, and tie it all in so you guys could have a better understanding, man. That's amazing of how you're breaking it down, and then as at the same time bringing you as like an example of like this situation happened, and that's
Yeah.
how we start understanding more at a higher level because you're actually like in this situation with our stories that we went through, similar things that they're going through right now. You see what I'm
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think that's where a lot of times people have a trouble listening to other people because they think like, oh, Emilio and Guerrero, they're just, they think they're better than anyone or they did. No, it's not coming from a position like that. What we're sharing with you is we came from the same background, got married, had kids, had our trials and tribulations, had our problems, found ourselves with vices, and woke up one day and said, "Hey, there's got to be something better than this. There's got to be something better that I can do. There's got to be more information out there that I can gather, that I can collect, and start implementing in my everyday life, so I can create a much better outcome." Okay, so why wouldn't you listen to somebody who went through it before you did? Okay, a lot of times our ego tells us that we're the only one. We're the
saying?
only ones that are going through this right now. We're
Yeah.
the only ones that ever went through this. Man, shut the fuck up. There's been thousands, if not millions, that have already went through the same problem you did, but no one's talking about it.
Yeah.
And no one's sharing about it, what they did to overcome it.
Mhm.
Okay? Or better yet, nobody has actually invested in themselves to say, hey, wait a second. Why does my mind work this way? Why do I behave this way? Why do some people create a better life and some people don't? Okay. Well, you're looking at two individuals that have really invested a lot of time and money into figuring this out so we can pass it along.
Mhm. Yep. Gold. Gold. Awesome.